Be honest, do you miss when a game launch felt like a holiday? Not because the game was better, but because the moment felt bigger? Welcome back. This channel is just a place to take a load off, chill, talk about random things, or honestly, don't say anything at all. If you're here, you're welcome here. The Midnight Preorders used to be an event, and I'm not even here to hate on how it is now, because I actually do enjoy those 9 p.m. releases. Preloading's convenient, hopping on right at 9 o'clock is fun, but it was different when you had to go out and pick it up. You'd see other people waiting for the same game that you were excited for. Sometimes you'd run into friends, and sometimes you'd see parents in line trying to surprise their kid, the next day. Uh, but it felt like a big celebration. So let me ask you this. What was your last midnight release, or last time you actually waited in line for a game? Drop it in the comments. I really want to hear your stories. It's just crazy to think that Grand Theft Auto 5 is almost 13 years old. And that was probably one of my last, like, real midnight pre-orders where, I showed up and lined up. I remember the line was clear out the door and running into a friend and, excited. Speaking of that era, what was your favorite multiplayer experience back then? I remember trading in so many games just to keep up with the catalog. Like Battlefield 3, that game pulled me out of Call of Duty for a while. It just felt so realistic to me, with the suppression system. At that time, the graphics were crazy. I know it still holds up today, but 2011 at that time, was just a huge difference from Call of Duty, and still is, but I just remember that system uh, being really cool to me. The intensity, the chaos, it felt so much more serious than Call of Duty. But I remember Black Ops, that was the only Call of Duty that I ever hit max prestige in. And for me, Zombies was peak on that one. All the DLC. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun. Never really, like, the Zombies past that never felt like quite like that moment in time. What was your guys' favorite Zombies experience out of all of them? For me, it was Black Ops. Um, but moving on, what did you guys think of The Last of Us and Factions? Uh, yeah, for me, Factions was crazy. And the funny story about The Last of Us for me is that I stumbled upon The Last of Us, and I consider myself to be a pretty knowledgeable gamer, but I didn't even buy that game at first. I didn't even know it existed. I rented it from Redbox, and obviously that opening hooked me immediately, and I was just invested in that story. And you know, uh, my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, she helped me buy it, and I beat it several times, every difficulty, and I platinumed it on PS3, obviously. But no, it's the first game I ever 100% completed, and yeah, no, that The Last of Us and Factions. The thing with Factions was that I feel like it was ahead of its time, and for a third-person player multiplayer game, I don't think there was ever anything quite like it that matched it. Just my opinion. Um, yeah, it was just different than playing like COD or Battlefield. It was slower, tense, tactical, and every decision mattered. It was really like a search and destroy type moment. I think it was Survivors. Can't remember exactly what it was called, but it was huge. It was a lot of fun for me. And it's a shame that they canceled Factions too, because I think that could have been, something really special and nostalgic, at least for me. So, out of the games we've talked about, what were you playing back then? And if it wasn't any of the ones I've talked about here, what game had you in a chokehold? I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me for this first full episode. I don't really have a schedule yet, but if you enjoyed this, leave a like, drop a comment. You're welcome here. I've never really engaged online like this before, but it was a lot of fun. And I'll see you on the next one. Papa Bear out.